I now invite the distinguished representative of Spain to make a statement. Spain, you have the floor, please.
Gracias, señora presidenta.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Por permitir a España participar como
Allowing Spain to participate as an observer member of this committee. Thank you for that. Spain fully defends an international order based on international law and the fulfillment of its provisions. Alas, Spain is the victim still of a colonial situation which seriously affects our territorial integrity and which runs counter to international legality. Pursuant to resolutions of the UN General Assembly, Gibraltar is a territory awaiting decolonization, which must be achieved by means of bilateral negotiations between the UK and Spain. These bilateral negotiations are separate from those being held between the European Union, Spain, and the UK in order to determine the legal framework applicable to Gibraltar and the European Union after Brexit. In the implementation of Chapter 11 of the UN Charter, the UK in 1946 recorded Gibraltar as a non-self-governing territory and therefore awaiting decolonization. Since then, the General Assembly, by means of several resolutions and decisions, has compiled a collation of doctrine applicable to the decolonization of Gibraltar. The main elements are Gibraltar is a colony. Since 1963, it has been included in a list of territories undergoing decolonization, pursuant to the C-24's action. The colonial situation of Gibraltar affects the national unity and territorial integrity of Spain, destroying it as incompatible with Resolution 1514. In other words, unlike other decolonization processes, Gibraltar's must be governed by the principle of territorial integrity and not self-determination. The question of Gibraltar must be resolved by means of negotiation and bilateral negotiations in Spain and the UK. In the negotiations, the interests of the peoples of the colony must be taken into account. They do not have a right to self-determination. Gibraltar is not part of the UK. A colony and administering powers are separate legal entities. Gibraltar is a British military base, a state of affairs that the UK places above the interests of its inhabitants. The UK, as the administering power, should put an end to military activities in the colony and demilitarize. Consequences for Spain of the situation colonial situation go beyond sovereignty. Spain, alas, is a victim of a situation which affects our territorial integrity. Moreover, on a daily basis, the zone close to the non-self-governing of Gibraltar suffers the consequences of the survival of the colony. The provisions and fiscal, labour, environmental and jurisdiction matters and state aid cause an economic imbalance of the other side of the frontier to the detriment of Spain, in particular the campo of Gibraltar, to the benefit of the colony. This is significant looking at the per capita income. There are effects for those resident and non-resident. There is cheap labour, and the same benefits are not given to that as to residents. Other examples show prejudices from contraband of tobacco, smuggling of tobacco, the untreated runoff waters going into the sea, the hampering of traditional fishing by means of Spanish fishermen in Spanish waters close to Gibraltar, the impact of military activities. There are British military activities, shooting exercises, arrivals of nuclear submarines, etc. For Spain, we wish to comply with the UN resolutions and resume bilateral negotiations for the definitive decolonization of Gibraltar, continuing with the process started under the Brussels Declaration of 1984, which was broken off unilaterally by the UK. Spain is willing to negotiate in good faith, and we wish also to differentiate the negotiations on decolonization from those between the EU, Spain, and the UK regarding Gibraltar when it comes to Brexit. Gibraltar is still without a legal framework for its relationships with the EU after Brexit, with negative consequences. Now, these negotiations affect our territorial integrity.
I thank the distinguished representative of Spain for his statement.